Hello everyone, welcome to DubsTech. We are a UW RSO for diversified tech fields and we aim to bring the coolest tech to everyone. I know some of you have already got tired with this introduction, but I'm gonna do it anyways for those who just clicked on this video. So you're here to expected to learn how to code in Python and also hopefully to explore interest in coding. There will be new projects for every workshop, and all you need to do is to bring a laptop to the actual workshop, of course. There will be no rushing, no homework, and no stress. So you just come here and you learn and hopefully know that you have the capability of becoming a better programmer. So how this workshop works. At the beginning of the workshop or the video, I'm going to show you how this project works, how the finalized file would be, and how the program is going to look like. And then I'm going to talk about the general aspects behind it. So what areas of knowledge, what areas and what kinds of code, what kinds of program you need to implement and write. And then I'm going to walk you through the coding step by step, so you don't need to worry about not being able to catch up or following. If you have any questions, you are free to message me or to just raise your hand during the real workshop. And that's it. Everyone will get their projects completed, and we appreciate very much if you can show your projects to your friends. That will help us grow. So if you're new to the workshop or if you're missing a session, you'll get the access to past PowerPoints, completed workshop projects, and also obviously this tutorial series online. So you have the GitHub link on the screen right now. That is the basement to all of those resources. And I'll be able to help you in coding sessions and by email. So for this week's workshop, we're gonna make our own MATLAB game. It's not long at all. It's short and but it has string formatting and arrays that we did not have covered in previous workshops, and they can be hard to learn and understand. So please give your best attention to the stuff we're gonna do today. But before that, let's take a little break by running the game. Hit the run button. Enter a command. Let's go with eat. Pronoun. Let's go with trees. Animal. Just cow. The playground for the location. Tree as well. Adjective. Let's go with big. Let's go with small. Played. Eaten. And we have our own little verse. Eat, but eat only EB. Trees. Oh, I actually had a typo there, but that doesn't matter. Trees are valor. For the playground is guarded by a cow so big, so small that no tree yet has played with it and eaten. The MATLAB, always confusing. So let's run it again, this time with different words and see what's the difference. Enter command, let's go with fight. Pronoun, let's go with enemies. Animal, let's go with wolf, or let's go with King Kong. Enter location, the battleground, you know, it's the fight scene. Singular noun, hero, adjective, fearless, oh my god, I can't spell today. Another adjective, let's go with powerful. Past, let's go with fighted, beaten, fight, but fight only EB enemies of valor. For the battleground is guarded by a King Kong so fearless, so powerful that no hero has yet fighted with it and beaten. So that makes actually more sense. All right, we had a little fun with the game. So now, before we move on, I want you to think about what does the program need to do? How does it ask the user a series of questions about the inputs? And how does it store the user inputs in a group of common words like adjectives? And how does it insert the input into a set output format? So you can see it again. We have the same general structure for the verse. So it looks like we have a set verse body for the inputs, and then we finalize them into our own MATLAB. So how do we do that? And here's a breakdown. So we utilize the I/O aspect of Python. That's generic. It's going to be provided by the Python program itself to get inputs, get all the words from the user input, and always also we output the messages, the finalized MATLAB verse to the console. So we use the I/O right there, and we also store a bunch of variables that are of the same data type in the arrays, and we also finalize the MATLAB verse into one single string, and we utilize formatting string, and that's also generic. So yeah, we are all using generic functions today. So let's get started. We need to ask the user a series of inputs, which are command, plural noun, animal, location, and singular noun. I don't want you to worry about those additives and past participles in right now. We'll do that. We'll do those in a moment. And so, without further ado, I want you to create a new file and name it matlab.py and write your main method. And actually, that's going to be the only method we write today, and also the shortcut to the main method. And then on the screen, you have all the names of the variables that I want you to declare right now, and initialize them with input commands. And if you want, I mean, it's optional to give users a little hint about like an example of the words that you expect them to input. You can pause the video now, and I will show you shortly. Oops. And yeah, you can pause now. So let's create a new file, and without further ado, let's save it. And workspace, I want to call it MATLAB. I'm just replacing what I already have. It doesn't matter. And let's write our main method. We start out with a define, and we also include the shortcut to the main method, so that when we click on the run button, it just runs the main method by itself. And notice there's no indentation with the shortcut, so the Python knows it's a whole different game from the codes inside the main method. And we also want to define those variables, so we do it right now. Command is equal to input, enter a command. So you have those examples on the screen right now. I'm not going to type them again, just to save a bit of time. As I mentioned, they are just optional. So for the plural noun, it's going to be enter a plural noun. And for the animal, it's going to be input enter an animal. and location, that would be enter a location. Singular noun, we'll get there. This is the last one. Enter a singular noun. All right, not too shabby. I mean, we've done this practice of initializing variables and giving input their values as inputs from the user input. We should be pretty familiar with that idea right now. So we have those single variables that only store one piece of item, but now we want to store the groups appropriately. So we have those additives, and we have 2 of them. But in the real world examples, you could deal with literally hundreds or thousands of those, and it will be a very horrible idea to store them one by one. So we want a linear structure. We want and storing a group of common items like adjectives. And how can we do that? Well, the answer is we use the Python list, but when we only use the behavior as arrays. So the Python list has incorporated many behaviors that is actually different data structures in other programming languages as stacks and queues. So arrays, but we're only going to talk about arrays today. So arrays are great linear data structure to store a group of common type items. And we use array.append to add items at the end of the list. And to be clear, that list can contain missed data types, but it's best not to do so for the clarity of a program. If you want to store let's say a string for the zeroth index and the an integer for the second item, or in this case the first index, the list will take it. But then if you later on want to use a for each loop, the Python might just complain about the data types being not compatible. So be very careful with that. So and also just to create different arrays and store one and the same data structure, the data variable for the same array. And as you can see from the board, the Python array and arrays in many other languages use zero-based indexing. So the first item is 0, the second item is 1, and so on. And the reason for this is the logic behind storing data in the computer RAMs. It's an age-old practice. You don't need to know much about that, but it also has to do something with binary, and you don't have to worry about too much. So to declare an array, you start with the name of the array, just the name of the variable in essence, and equals a square bracket. And then if you want to add or append information variables to the array, you just use array.append, and it goes inside is a particular type of data that you want to append to the end of this array. And to access the array, access a particular element of that array, you do that by calling, by first writing the name of that array, and then use square brackets, and it goes inside is the integer index of that item. So the string equals adjectives square bracket 0. That will be evaluated to be equal to big. So let's do that in action. Adjectives equal to square brackets, and past participles is equal to, oh, sorry, adjectives dot append input, enter an adjective, and then we want another one, enter another adjective, and never forget the quotation marks. All right, so you've seen that in action. Now I want you to pause the video and store past participles in the same way. Well, it's going to be very similar as you've already guessed. It's just to give you another practice. Let me pause the video now. All right, here we are back in action, but this time with past participles. So let's start off with declaring the name and append those input commands, asking ideas and words from the user. Enter a past participle. That should suffice. And we did the same thing, but this time the prompt, only the prompt message is different. Enter another past participle. And yeah. So now we could have all the information stored. We want to format our output. So we want all of our inputs to be added inside our verse body, and we also want consistent format and line breaks, as we can see from the finalized verse. And how do we do this? Well, there are many ways to achieve this, but they are all under the same idea that you want to format the string. But today we're gonna use a simple one, because all of the data types we're doing today is with strings. So it's relatively easy if you just follow the approach on the screen. The curly brackets is one of the Python standards for filling in information, and this works very conveniently with strings in Python. So that's what I want to work with today. So let's go to the file and name this global variable. In order to save time, I'm just gonna copy the code from the finalized version. So you have it on the screen. You can pause this right now to copy it. So you can see it uses triple quotes to preserve the original order and the style and the line breaks. So you can see it literally goes the same way as the final output. And we use this curly brackets to indicate that, oh, this will be replaced by some outside formatting strings that eventually you get is this formatted string that has all the information replaced and updated. And how do we use that? Well, how do we actually insert those variables inside our barebone story? Well, we can use string.format. So string is any name of the string variables, and format is the format method inside the string class. What goes inside the parentheses are inputs ready to replace themselves with those curly brackets in the barebone story. So I want you to literally copy the code. But you can see right now that we have this MATLAB, and well, it's essentially also of a type string. but it goes with story.format and with all those makeups of the final story. So 0, 1, 0, 1, that you can see it's trying to access the two items there and the adjectives and past participles. And let me pause the video now to just copy that into your code, and we'll be finishing the MATLAB. So here we are. In order to save time, I'm just going to copy this and also to print the MATLAB into the finalized file. Again, 0 and 1 just indexes to the arrays we already have. And let's run it. Enter command O, that will be working. Okay. So this is a short workshop for sure, but then the idea and the practice of formatting strings and arrays can be very difficult to understand for the beginners. So I want you to think again and again about the ideas shown here, and make sure you understand before me moving on to the next workshop. So we've just seen the array behavior of the Python list. The Python list is very versatile and has many other behaviors which are known as data structures in other programming languages. And be sure to check them out. Also, we wrote a long list for formatting strings, and especially if we work with arrays with that has say 100 elements, it will be a horrible idea to just list all of them out. So it will be a great idea to use a for each loop, and to do that you need every item in your array to be of the same data type. So that's why I mentioned in the beginning, it's best not to mix those data types. And there are more ways to format strings in Python. This, the one we were working today, works best with pure strings. If you want to work with integers, you have to cast them as strings. But there are ways that you can ignore the casting and just declare them in terms of using percentages, the percentage mark, and read them online if you're interested. But otherwise, that's all. Thank you for paying attention to this video, and I will see you in workshop 5, where we make our own message encryption program. It's gonna be fun. Hope you're enjoying. All right, that's it for now. Peace.